For years, the story in cybersecurity has been all about a numbers game. The biggest crisis was just a simple lack of people. But what if that's not the real story anymore? Well, the latest ISC2 Workforce Study just dropped, and it reveals a massive shift in the industry's biggest challenge. And trust me, what they found changes everything.
For as long as any of us can remember, really, when you talked about the biggest hurdle in cybersecurity, the conversation always landed on one simple, universally accepted idea. It was almost like a mantra.
That was it, the headcount shortage. The problem was always about not having enough people. This giant gap in the sheer number of professionals we needed to fill all the open jobs. It was all about quantity.
But this new study, it really forces us to ask a tough question. What if we've been so focused on just filling empty chairs that we missed that the entire game has changed right under our feet?
So what does this new kind of shortage actually look like? Well, it's a fundamental change in where we need to put our focus. The whole conversation, the anxiety in the industry, it's shifting. It's moving away from just, we need more bodies, to a much more critical problem. We don't have the right capabilities. It's not about quantity anymore. It's all about the quality and the type of skills our teams have.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This is coming straight from the top. When the acting CEO of ISCC flat out says the biggest concern has flipped from headcount to skills, you know this is a serious paradigm shift we're talking about.
Now, let's be real, the old problems haven't just vanished into thin air. Budget is still a massive roadblock. A third of organizations, say they just don't have the resources to staff their teams the right way. And almost as many admit they flat out can't afford to hire the people with the advanced skills they desperately need. So yeah, the skills gap is also a budget gap.
Okay, so we've got these gaps. So what? Well, the so what is where things get really serious. Because when these skills gaps are left open, the consequences are very, very real. And they hurt.
Get this number in your head, 95%. That's how many organizations are feeling the pain of a skills gap. This isn't some niche issue for a few companies. It is an industry-wide epidemic.
And it's not getting better. It's getting worse, and it's getting worse fast. A 15% jump in what are considered critical or significant gaps in just 1 year? That's a huge red flag. The problem is accelerating. And here it is, the bottom line. This is the direct cost. 88% of organizations have suffered an actual security incident because they didn't have the right people with the right skills. You can't draw a clearer line between the gap and the breach.
And it happens in so many ways, right? It's not just one thing. It's simple oversights and basic procedures. It's being forced to put people who are underqualified into really key roles. It's systems being misconfigured. It's spending a fortune on the latest security tech and then not even being able to use it right. Every single one of these is an open door for an attacker.
So, what is driving this massive pivot to skills? Well, if you look at the data, one technology stands head and shoulders above everything else as the catalyst.
I'm talking about artificial intelligence, of course. And just look at how fast it's becoming a reality. We're not talking about some far-off future here. More than 2/3 of organizations are already deep into integrating, testing, or evaluating AI tools. It is happening right now.
And the result of that? Well, for the second year in a row, AI has become the single most in-demand skill in the entire field. It's even pulled ahead of cloud security. The demand for people who get AI isn't just growing, it's absolutely exploding.
So, this all leads to the big, kind of scary question that's on everyone's mind, right? With all this powerful automation and intelligence, should cybersecurity pros be worried about their jobs?
Well, the answer from the people actually on the front lines is a resounding no. They don't see AI as a replacement at all. They see it as an accelerator. They believe it's going to demand more specialization, a more strategic way of thinking, and even broader overall knowledge. AI isn't killing jobs, it's making them more advanced.
So, with all this going on, how does it all affect the people actually doing the work day in and day out? What's the reality for a cybersecurity professional in this new world?
This is where it gets really fascinating, because you see this incredible duality. On one hand, a huge 80% of people are passionate about what they do. I mean, this is a mission-driven field. But on the other hand, almost half of them feel completely overwhelmed and exhausted. They love the work, but the workload is burning them out. And that creates a really complex puzzle when it comes to keeping people. Professionals are generally happy and they're confident in their careers, but they're not sticking around.
you see a pretty big drop in retention after just 1 year. And one of the biggest reasons for that? A lack of opportunities to advance. People want to grow their skills, and if they can't do it where they are, they'll go somewhere they can. So all of this leads to the final, most important part. What do we actually do about it? How can organizations and individuals adapt to this new skills-first reality?
As ISC Squared's Chief Operating Officer really just nails it right here, the focus has to shift. Developing the capability of the people you already have is now way more important than just hiring more people to fill seats.
So, the path forward is actually pretty clear. Organizations have to invest money and, just as important, time in developing their own people. This means letting people learn during the workday, not expecting them to do it all on their own time. It means actually managing workloads to stop that burnout we saw. And it means tapping into the incredible energy that people already have for learning about things like AI.
And that leaves us with one last big question to think about. As AI continues to change everything, you really have to take a hard look at your own organization or even your own career. Are you still playing the old game of just filling headcount, or are you focused on building real, future-proof capability? Because the answer to that question is going to define who wins in this new era of cybersecurity.